Hey guys, Rex here. You know something? You don't need to be a rich guy or a rocket scientist to figure out the long-range precision game if you get situated with the right stuff right off the bat, okay? What we have right here is the Mossberg Patriot. I dig the name. This is in a 6.5 Creedmoor. You can buy ammo over the counter, this long-range precision ammo. This will shoot it fine, okay? And this is a rifle that is $340 some. I just bought this the other day from whatever sporting goods store I drove to, I forget which one it was, okay? And I bought it with my hard-earned pennies. It has a threaded barrel, so I can run my Picatinny armament Pantera on there, okay? Has a little thread adapter, or you can put a muzzle brake on there if you want. It's fluted, okay? And then it has the typical, now Mossberg mechanically is almost like a Savage, okay? So we have a barrel nut, and then we actually have a kind of a cool fluted bolt. See that bolt? We got flutes in there, and yes, I did have that set up to where when I have the bolt open, it opens up your scope cap for you. Very sneaky. I'll show you in a minute, okay? So we have our bolt. It's actually a smooth, nice, put together action. This design is quite well proven. They're very accurate. This rifle's gonna shoot fine. It had just a regular injection molded style stock in tan, which is cool. I'll probably rattle can this at some point in the near future. It does have regular sling swivel studs, as you can see here. So I throw in my Harris S Series 9 to 13 inch notch leg bipod, which is my favorite cheap bipod that you can buy, okay? They're like $99, okay? Got this sling. You dig this tactical sling right here, guys? This is what they used to call, back in my day, leather. This is cut off of a cow or some kind of bovine-like creature, okay? Typically. And you have your adjustment. I got this for like, I think $1. Way back when. And guess what? It still works fine. It's like from the 1950s. I don't care. And because the sling has to do this right here. Done, okay? Or if I want to use this to get a nice solid position, I wrap my arm around there like so, and I'm nice and tight like so. So sling is good to have, but you don't need to spend infinity dollars on one, okay? And of course, yes, I did put on the little Allen cartridge holder. Why? Because this is my truck gun. I don't want to spend $800 trillion on my truck gun. You should see what happens in my weapons in my car. I typically have an M4, a Colt M4 carbine. Yeah, I know Colt, sorry about that, guys, but it's what I typically run, okay? And they get a little bit of use on them. They get, you know, cold, wet, cold, hot, or whatever, you know, from the condensation. So when they get cold, and then the heat comes on, and then they come in and out of the car all the time, they get wet. And so they get banged around a lot, they get kicked around. And so this is something that I want to have to not worry about. So I didn't want to spend $1 million. Like I said, $340 for the rifle. I'm going to leave it bone stock. I'm not going to mess with it. I remounted this Picatinny rail, which came on it, okay? So one-piece tactical style base. I took that off, dried it up, got all the lube off, because they come lubed quite well from the factory. Used some brake cleaner and reapply the screws with Loctite after administering what I call the break-in process, which we'll explain in a minute, okay? And I have Weaver over-the-counter low style tactical rings. We got 3 holes going in each direction, okay? So we got 6 screws here, 6 screws there. We show you how to mount that properly in a minute. And of course we have the ACSS Silver Series scope in the 3 to 18. And this is the Apollo Reticle, okay? The Apollo Reticle, you can take an 11-year-old girl out there, give her a marksmanship lesson for about 10 minutes, get her inside a minute of angle. This rifle will do that no problem. And then basically you explain the reticle, basically bracket your target, shoulder to shoulder, IPSC, right? Or bad guy. Bracket it, and that's where you hold. And if there's wind, there's dots next to there. Hold off for the wind. Hold into the wind because the bullet blows away from the wind, right? The wind pushes it, right? Explain that to an 11-year-old girl, and you got yourself a super deadly, like half-hour training session type little girl with this rifle that can shoot 1,000 yards.
Oh, that was a dead center hit. Okay. 9, let's go middle plate. Nice. I look like a bottom right corner of that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's try for the 1000. Let's do the middle plate on the 1000. That was about 3 inches above center.
Perfecto mundo.
Okay.
Not hard and not expensive. Everything together. The optic was kind of the more expensive part. It's still under 500 bucks, but that's the most expensive part of this rifle. Now you can go cheaper. There are scopes that are more affordable than this, but this is what I chose to put on this particular rifle, okay? 6.5 Creedmoor, man, flat shooting round. With this reticle, I don't need a ballistic computer. I don't need a laser rangefinder. I don't need to know math. I don't really need to even know anything. All I have to know how to do is zero this thing, which is relatively simple, okay? At a parallel board with zero, and we'll talk about that later. But, you're like really deadly from 0 to 1,000 yards. It's like easy. So easy that it should be illegal. If I was a communist, I would say that. But I'm not. I like it. So yeah, check it out. The Mossberg Patriot, guys. No, I'm not shy to have one. I bought it with my own cash. And I like stuff that's affordable, and I like stuff that's rugged. And I like stuff that's simple too. You don't have to get the most complicated stuff possible. You just need what you need to get the job done. And this is light. It's like a toy gun. It's like a feather. Super light. Magazines are easy to get in and out. The cartridges do fit in here. If you want to see, I can do that later. And there you go, man. You're in business. Didn't have to learn a whole lot. You didn't have to spend that much. Hey guys, Rex Log, years 2019, almost 2020. I get a lot of requests for guys wanting rifles and equipment that's a little bit more affordable, okay? So that is what this video will be about, okay? You aren't gonna believe this, but it is something that I am not shy about at all. See this right here? It's a Mossberg. I bought this with my own hard-earned cash from the hardware store the other day because I'm going to build a lightweight, super cheap truck rifle, okay? And this is gonna be like a backup precision rifle. I usually carry an M4 with me, and then of course my sidearm and stuff like that. But if you need to take like a long shot, which sometimes can be handy, check out this deal, okay? So what configuration is it? This thing cost me only like $349 or something like that from whatever store I bought it from, over the counter. And I'm completely mangling this box for you, okay? Okay, so here's what we got. It's just a standard contour, what are they calling it? The Mossberg Patriot 6.5 Creedmoor. I almost went with a different model. I ain't gonna say which, but the reason I got this was the price, okay? It's like $349 or something like that. It has a one-piece rail on it. It's aluminum, which is fine. I'm gonna put aluminum rings on it so it'll all get together fine, okay? And we have the standard, it looks like a barrel nut design. And we'll dig the bolt out. We got a fluted barrel, see that? Pretty cool. And it's threaded. Just in case I ever wanted to throw my Pantera on here, okay? My Acadian Armament Pantera suppressor is threaded, ready to rock and roll right there, see? Or a muzzle brake or whatever else I wanted to do, okay? So that's pretty handy. I don't need to mess with this thing. I don't need to take it to a gunsmith, rebarrel it, have it threaded, nothing like that, okay? And so that's the foundation of the build. And I can show you guys what I got going on behind me in a minute. I'm gonna find the bolt for this real quick. Apparently, they like to keep everything safe, you know. Can have the bolt and rifle. Oh yeah, check this out. Got kind of a fluted, high-speed rock and roll bolt, okay? And it looks like we got the separate bolt head here, kind of a Savage style design, okay? Which actually works good when the cartridge locks into the chamber. Sometimes there's a little bit of misalignment in there. The head of the bolt will just center itself on there and everything will be nice and happy, okay? And actually, when I played with it at the store, it's like very nice and smooth. A $349 rifle. The stock is plastic. I don't care. This is my truck gun. And it's actually, I bet you, when I get out there and use it, from what I've seen and from what I know from other folks that have these shoot plenty good, okay? I'm talking like minute of angle or better, which is plenty good for what we need to do. In a 6.5 Creedmoor, pretty much any kind of full-size target is going to be guaranteed dead out to 1K, no problem. And maybe even out farther than that if you can play the wind right and get all your science together, okay? And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So this comes with a detachable magazine, okay? It's own little Mossberg magazine. I have no idea what the extras cost. Probably $1 million, maybe 10, I have no idea. But everything we got right here, 349 bucks. And it's got a nice big bolt handle, okay? I'm going to try out the trigger, okay? You ready for this? All right, so we'll try out the trigger right here. He's going to have his little Accutech style trigger. See this? Kind of like the Savage. You know, Mossberg's bolt actions, I think, are like the same deal as a Savage, repackaged and restylized a little bit. So they might call this something different, but basically we have a safety mechanism built into the front of the trigger here so that it can be mechanically safe, but still a light trigger. So we're going to try the trigger real quick. Dude, that's like fine. It'll work just fine. It's not stupid light to where it's not going to work in a real world situation, but it's not bad at all. Like, I can deal with that. Now, the Accutech style triggers are a little weird for me because I used everything else for so long. I'll try it one more time. I'm going to describe that as a target grade trigger. It'll work fine. I do not have to modify anything here, okay? So we got my mag, got that. Do they have an extra mag in here? No. And they got some kind of gun lock business going on. You guys want to see what I got on the table behind me? Now, there's a lot of different ways you could go beyond this, okay? I'll take you over the table. Hey, only Rex does a complete review on a system with no cuts or edits. Now, that's freaking cool. Because Rex knows what's going on. Hey, whoa, might have to cut that out. Showing the screwdrivers. It's out of line. So let's take a look at what's on the table here real quick. All right, what is this stuff over here, guys? Am I nuts? I bought this just now. You all know what this is, right? So then little neoprene, or not neoprene, but elastic shell holders you put on the buttstock back there, see? And then you can put your extra cartridges on there. Why? Because it's super tactical for $10. Okay? Right here, garage sale. Got this leather sling, old school, tactical quick detach situation, okay? Like $1 or $2, I don't remember, okay? So there's that. Look at that. Tactical rings even. Weaver Tactical, okay? Will this work fine? Yep. I'm putting it on an aluminum base. Aluminum rings on an aluminum base. The deformation of those materials being very similar should be even, so that's good. You don't want to mix steel and aluminum unless you're putting aluminum on steel, that's okay, but the other way around would be bad. But with this being an aluminum base, one piece, these rings work just fine for my application. I went with the 30mm low rings, okay? And they have 6 screws on them, and we'll show you that in a second. And then I found this, one of my many Harris S-Series bipods. It was 99 bucks, okay? And it's camouflage and painted with spray can. And it's a 9 to 13 inch notch leg situation, which is my favorite. You just hit that and you can deploy it real quick and adjust it on the fly, and it swivels, okay? And so I'm gonna put that on there. So I got my sling, I got my bipod, I got my rings, I got my tactical ammo carrying situation. I even got some ammo here, some Hornady match, okay? Now all we need is an optic, okay? Now, there was a lot of different ways a guy can go. If you want to dial it in, that's fine. However, this particular rifle, being in a 6.5 Creedmoor, needs something like this. You know how easy it is to drive one of these? This is a Primary Arms 3 to 18 Silver Series. And this is the most expensive part of the entire deal. This was $400 some, okay? And so, ACSS reticle set up for 6.5 Creedmoor with 130 grains out to 1,000 yards. Like, you hold over, you bracket the target, you know, shoulder to shoulder, and you just basically hold right on, and then if you got wind, you got dots off to the side for 5 and 10 mile an hour, now, etc. And it's very accurate. Okay guys, a couple Rex tips here. This base comes screwed on, okay? I got 2 little screws here, 2 little screws here. I don't trust that them are gonna stay in place. So what I'm gonna do before I get started, I'm gonna go ahead and back those out. I'm gonna take this base off. I'm gonna go ahead and mate it in there. I'm gonna rub it around on the receiver to make sure it's mated up good. I'm gonna clean everything with brake cleaner, get all the grease and lubricant and oil that was used to pack this gun when it was assembled off of here. I'm gonna dry all the grease off. Then I'm gonna reinstall it, and I'm gonna Loctite the hell out of these screws with a blue Loctite. Now something like this, you can do that right away if you mate the surfaces together. Now you need to rub the scope base into the surface. You see this parkerized finish? On the micro scale, it's very, very fine texture to it, so you need to rub the texture out of it. If you do that, and you can back the screws in and a few times mount it, try to bend it around, try to get it seated on here, because what happens is on the micro scale, stuff can loosen up over time, and if it's Loctited, your base is actually loose and your screws seem like they're tight, when in fact the tolerance has changed. So, but I can manipulate that just by getting Western with it when I mount it on there. So that's what I'm gonna do first. And then, likewise, when I mount my Scheist, dropping stuff, little scope rings on here as well. I'm gonna get this on here, I'm gonna rub it into the finish, I'm gonna find the notch I need it to be in, I'm gonna rub it in, then I'm gonna get all the grease out, I'm gonna completely degrease everything with brake cleaner or carb cleaner or whatever I got on the counter, and I'm gonna go ahead and mount it forward, and the cross bolt is gonna be nice and far forward on here. See how they already took some of the finish off? I don't know if you guys see that. I don't need the finish breaking down with recoil over time, so I'm just gonna rub it in wherever I'm gonna put it, okay? Okay, now I'm getting the components together. We got a cross pin coming in from the other side, and then we have this little part right here, which is pinching it onto the rail, and then we have a nut, okay? Now it's all kind of loosey-goosey at the moment. I wanna make sure everything's centered as I tighten this up. Now there is some wiggle in here. I'm gonna go ahead and wiggle it to where it's bottomed out in one direction, okay? And I'm gonna wiggle it as I tighten it, because I don't want it to be a little cattywampus and I tighten it down and then a couple strokes of recoil and it seats into place. Now it's just totally loose, right guys? You understand the concept? So I'm wiggling it and I'm verifying that I'm lined up the same on this side, and I got full purchase on this side and this side as well. So what am I doing right here? So I got everything wiggled in, nice and into place. I got all the surfaces mated in well, and I got everything assembled to where it's properly lined up. Now I got it up to the torque point. I'm actually using a torque wrench. It didn't tell me what the torque specs are on these bolts. By looking at them, I'm guessing 45 might be okay. I don't know, maybe that's way too much, we'll find out. But what I'm doing is I'm torquing them, and then I'm untorquing them, and then I'm torquing them again, untorquing them. And what I'm allowing is aluminum in any material has a certain amount of deformation that it'll encounter, okay? And so when it recoils, that stuff's gonna change. And so what I'm doing is I'm getting most of the mechanical, I'm mechanically inducing that deformation as I'm mounting this, okay? So I'm tightening it, full torque, then I'm loosening it up. The threads have different contact in there, right? And so like as they kind of mash together, they'll change a little bit. This is why screws come loose, is the deformation of materials, the thread pitch, and all that has to kind of hammer together. And so I'm just kind of giving it a few. I'm not doing it a lot of times. I'm just making sure that it's seated properly, okay? And now I can be pretty darn confident that whatever kind of micro surfaces, micro burrs were cut onto those threads have been hammered out, because I screwed it in, unscrewed it, screwed it in, unscrewed it quite a few times. And we get cheap proper torque. And I'm just gonna verify that on both sides. Oh, this one moved a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna check it again. All right, there we go. That should be ready to rock and roll. Okay guys, I verified that the length of pull and my eye relief was proper for the stock of the scope. Now these are the low rings that were offered by Weaver. And it doesn't say the height on them, but they're just the Weaver 30mm low tactical rigs, okay? We got proper ergonomics. I can rest my cheek on here and I can see right through the scope, no problem. What I'm trying to make sure is I don't want this magnification ring to rub up on here. If it did and I needed to move it forward, which is right in its optimum spot, just almost, I got about an 1/8 inch of gap here. I want to verify I can mechanically turn this ring without it rubbing on here, okay? Or that when I tighten it down, it's not gonna bend the scope out of whack, okay? Also on the front ring, I'm gonna verify that this is not too far forward to where it's like riding, where it starts to turn into the objective bell housing up here, okay? So I don't wanna be anywheres on that groove, I wanna be visibly behind it, okay? If I am, it's gonna pinch on there, it's gonna screw it up, okay? And it's not gonna get a good solid purchase all the way around. Now that I know where the scope is mounted where I want it to be, I'm gonna move it just a little bit more forward, and I'm gonna rub it in like so. Now what I'm doing is I'm rubbing in the surface to kind of grip. Now in this case, a little bit of the gripping is okay, but as you can see, there's not full contact on the entire ring surface. Does a guy need to lap these? I don't think so. Not on something like this. This is gonna be fine. A one-piece base is gonna be fine. I don't wanna get all the mat rubbed off, but I do want it to be fully seated in here because I'm gonna want full contact. It's gonna be what holds the scope into place the best, okay? Also make sure these are not wet with oil, okay? You wanna make sure they're not lubricated. You want this to be dry. You put this in there. So I'm just making sure it's made it in, but I'm not rubbing the matte finish off. The matte finish will actually help to grab it in, if that makes sense, okay? Now I'll throw these on and I'll do the same thing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna tighten up the rest of the screws. I'm just gonna do the middle ones at first, okay? I'm gonna work my way out, just like I was installing the heads on the car. Now this ain't so tight, I can still kind of twist it around in there if I just loosen it up a tiny bit here and here, so I can get everything nice and level. Now what I'm gonna do, that I verified my reticle is level, and I just did a quick eyeball into that. If you've done hundreds of these, you can acquire the skill, okay? You'd be surprised, you'll be within like a quarter of a degree. You'll be very accurate. I'm kind of doing a crisscross pattern, just so that I don't pull it out of whack. If you just tighten down one side and then the other side, you'll find sometimes it'll pull the scope in that direction, okay? And I'm not going to full torque yet. You can do the same thing on these screws, guys. You can screw them in, back them out, screw them in, back them out, screw them in, back them out a few times, and that'll verify that everything is pretty snug. The way I got this rear scope cap mounted is a quick detach situation. So when I work the bolt, it just pops open, see? It's one of them ninja tricks you learn when you come to Rex defense class. Like, see, I don't have to worry about that deal. And then the front one, I actually like to set up to where I can just, when I'm reaching forward, I can just hit it with my thumb like this. Now all I need to do is remove this rubber band off this sling from like the 1950s, looks like, okay? And it's got new nice little end pieces on here. It's a leather sling, and I will probably adjust this. I can already tell it's going to be a little tight. So, hey man, I'm what they call a captain utilitarian. I'm guessing, no, that's not a church. I'm just a utilitarian. It's going to be a little better. I'm going to open this up a little more so I can use my arm in there. Back the sling up way back here. And the nice thing about these quick detach deals, pretty simple, just take them off real quick. And then I can put on my tactical load-bearing ammunition deal. Well, I got staples I got to pull out of here, huh? I don't want on that side, is my cheek rest, right? So now it's very, very tight when it's new. I have to fight it on here. I already got a feeling. I haven't done this in a million years. Oh man, these virgin shell holders are like pretty snug. Okay, here's the deal. All right guys, we got her all put together. We got some extra ammunition here. The cartridges do fit fine in this Mossberg magazine, okay? The Hornady ELD match. And these are 140s actually. I'm gonna go to 130s probably is what I'm gonna use. But just the 140s fit in there just fine, perfectly. Lots of room. So, and they just snap in nice and easily, like so. You just snap them straight down. Real easy to load, simple, not fussy, not goofy. I actually like it. Stripping them out, nice and smooth. Shite. Hope you dig this video. Subscribe and thumbs up and share. And if you want to come play with us and come train with us and learn the science stuff and get really good at this, if you want to master the craft of long-range shooting, check out rexdefense.com. We have more fun than anyone should be allowed to have. Ask our alumni. All right, we'll catch you on the flip side, guys. Nice.
I've never taken a long-range class before, but I can't imagine anybody delivering this much information in this short of a period.
Yeah, it takes a while. After you've been around a while, you kind of accumulate most of this information. Some of it falls by the wayside. Some of it you retain. At least you know it's there, and if you need to use it, you can pull on it.
You cannot miss an opportunity to gain knowledge. You cannot. The guys that are going to talk here, there must be 250 years of experience wandering around in the people that you're going to be exposed to. And I'm talking like hard-earned experience.
Rex is, of course, an absolute natural. He showed us over the years that, so I wasn't surprised to see him perform beautifully because he was born for it. He is naturally an awesome presenter. So whether he does it through YouTube, on video camera, or live, and by the way, congratulations, this is beyond the full house. I really think some people snuck up on you, man. You got to double check on who paid and who didn't, because I see more than 80 people here. I see north of 100 people.
If you have not been studying long range for quite some time, I'm not saying not to come to this class. I'm saying you better put your helmet on. It's gonna go fast. You can't get information like this going to happen in this class. You can't get that like anywhere.
He's already well known, and he'll get better and better and better.
But you're right. We have a very strong concentration of people with this much interest and passion. You know, in this one room, everybody's here looking for the best and trying to be the best, and I love it.
And that's the secret to success, too, guys, is surrounding yourself with competent, intelligent, and passionate people.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot in this room because everybody that gathers together here is because of a love for the sport or the craft and the skill and the art and the science. And you, Mr. Rex, you're kicking some butt up there today, man. You're in the zone.
I'm getting sweatier and sweatier, Lou. Wait until 4 hours from now.
You know, I'm a little scared to get up there. I mean, Rex is such a great speaker in this forum, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm going to bore these guys to death. But I can tell you one thing I like about these type of forums. When you get guys that admit to being interested in long-range shooting, you're past the guy who swears he can shoot a quarter-inch group with his factory Savage with factory ammo. So these guys, they're not at that point. They've gone past that. They're really serious now, and they really know a lot of this stuff. It's more about how much further can I push my
This is where they've come with
capabilities with more knowledge and more practice and more information.
We'll have a good time. The students will have a good time. You're going to get a tremendous level of information, and there are different levels of knowledge. And when I met Rex, he was really the first guy that I had met that had that kind of tier 1 level of knowledge.
This won't be the last time that you guys do this. This is the best thing that I have seen or been associated with thus far in this industry. This is really good. I think that the guys have learned a lot about this on relative to the topics and how to handle it at the next one that they do. I expect that the next one will be better and better and better, and I think that the guys that go to it are going to benefit and learn a lot.
But you're going to see some amazing things. When this company, as he builds this company and this curriculum, and it goes, I'm telling you, it's going to be a bookmark in American firearms training history. Like, something is different over there, what's going on, and people will come from all over.
Hey folks, it's Lou McCoy with the Rex Reviews Project, and we are here in Texas. Holy crap, man.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun. I'm here with Jesse and his lovely wife, and what do you guys have to say after the second day?
So we get out here, the first thing we did was check out all of our guns and equipment. We want that solid. We learn the fundamentals, make sure that everybody is doing things like correctly and properly, and that way when we start shooting out the longer distances, we don't we don't have to wonder what's all going on out there, And I think that's really cool, because you feel a lot more confident knowing that you're solid, you got a solid foundation when you start engaging things way out there. So.
And you
I think that's great.
Yeah, man. And you start off really close, and you get all the bugs worked out, and then you work out farther, and it's no big deal. It's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy. So the system works, Mr. Rex. It works, my man.
Just this experience was probably the best shooting experience I've ever had. It was the most I've ever learned, ever. So just getting to shoot out to 1,000, 1,100 yards, and these guys get you out there quick and do it the right way.
Feels like, but I think it's rolling down off the snow. Right.
No way.
Nah. That's still barely a 2.
Single.
Oh yeah? It's hot air. Nothing.
Yeah, reticle choice and design, I've really learned to, like, that's really important. We always focus on all the other stuff, but reticle design, is very critical.
If you pay attention to those classes and watch those reviews, it'll all come together for you, and this is a place where it all comes together.
Yeah, and you get out in the field and you get to apply all that knowledge and see it in action, and that's gratifying.
Absolutely, and it's the real world issues that that you're really learning here, as opposed to just you get all that technical data, and then you bring it out here to the real world and you put it all together and it works.
The secret Rex taught me about butterfly kisses on the cheek. And
It's actually true?
It was true.
Did it work?
It totally worked.
What?
It totally was. It happened earlier today, and all day I've been just on.
Like I just said a minute ago, yesterday everybody showed up. They were nervous. They didn't know what to expect. And look at the crowd behind us now. It's like a party back there, man. People are just having the time of their lives, and not only having a good time, but making some shots too. Some impressive ones.
They're learning what they come out here with. The dot drills, a lot of the drills that Rex and Paul are having us do, they really make you, get you into shape and make you, do exactly what you did the last time and be consecutive, So I think that's a just super way to start to do this stuff. So.
Yeah, it is. And you lay that solid foundation, and the rest is easy, man.
Yeah, we're just now it's not even really hard to shoot out there. We're shooting out at 1,100 yards, and really not that big a deal now after we, now that we know what to do.
All right, what just happened, man?
I just hit a water bottle at 875 yards.
And you had one shot.
One shot.
That's not bad. So what's the secret, man?
Aim small, miss small.
Amen. Well done, brother.
Thank you.
As long as you pay attention and do what the instructors say, it will all come together as an equation, and the equal sign pops right up.
Name's Edwin from Boston. Traveled out here to Pennsylvania to take the class to shoot past my home range of 600. Shot out to 1030, made some hits. Every time Rex teaches you something new and gets you comfortable, he totally messes with you. Gets you dirty, gets you muddy, makes you roll around in the rain and the mud and the dust. And then he takes your scope and he messes it all up, and he teaches us something new every time. So great time, good guys.
Nice shooting there, Tex.
Thanks, man. Second round hit on the gong and first round hit on Fred. Almost 1,000-yard shot. That was pretty awesome.
Feels good for first stage of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. I wasn't shooting very good yesterday, but it's good to come back.
Haven't shot past 400 yards until I came to RX-18. Right off the bat, brought us right out to 1,000 yards, gave us some confidence. And after working the range tables, I see no reason why I couldn't hit any
target that I knew the true range to and had the dope for, all the way out to and including 1,000 yards.
You're exposing, all the different students, including myself, to some different techniques, pulling from different arenas, whether it be from some application of competition, PRS, NRL kind of things. When we can't always take a prone shot, shooting off of obstacles, from unstable positions.
I came to the RX just to learn everything. It's a great place to be, great people. Learned quite a bit. Got me dialed in at ranges I've never even looked at before.
I've been to RX 17001 seminar and 001 shooting, and so I have some familiarity, but this is just a lot better. This is what I really enjoy. The instruction is again top notch. We learn any problems we have, we immediately have someone diagnose the problem. It's because it's so relaxed, the environment, you're constantly learning and you don't even really realize it. I think it's just been an awesome experience, and the knowledge is unbelievable.
Hey, my name's Mitch. I just over here at the Rex Live Fire event. Learned a hell of a lot. I got my rifle zero for 100 yards yesterday, and within a few hours I was hitting 1,030 yards. And I've never shot past 300 yards in my life. So it's definitely worth the money, definitely worth the trip, the hassle, everything about it's been great. Rex has been great, the crew's been great.
Oh, this has been terrific from my standpoint. We've seen things that we never expected to see. Let me see, we've got one guy, first time ever, at over a mile or whatever, and he's hitting 25, 80.
I think everyone got to a mile, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, everyone got to a mile in the whole class
and,
relatively easily.
It's really been surprising, and that just shows how the equipment, and it shows how the shooters have progressed learning and with the instruction and all. These guys have had good instruction, and they've just got the job done.
And how far were you shooting?
It was 1 mile.
1 mile, and what were we using here?
300 Win Mag.
300 Win Mag.
But probably not. Watch out, Rex.
So you just hit the 2,500 yard. Like, what's your solution?
It was 116.5 MOA elevation and 14 MOA windage.
And you had 4 shots.
Yes, sir.
You got in your team?
I had 6, so 10 total to hit 2551.
So tell me the story. How'd you finally spot where you're hitting?
I saw the trace. I saw his trace, and I called it good, but he was about 6 inches off the top right corner of the plate. He made a minor correction, bottom left edge of the plate, and I saw the top of the bullet, but I lost it, but it was an impact. So awesome shot.